Hello everybody and welcome to our May Garment Makers live question and answer session. We are delighted that you are joining us. You may think that you have arrived in a flower shop because not only am I wearing a very floral dress, I am surrounded by beautiful flowers. We're a little bit more on that later. So we are almost halfway through the year. We have had the sunniest spring that we have had, I think, on record ever. And my friend a few minutes ago told me that the northwest of England is officially in a drought and we are not even in the summer yet. So that is quite interesting, isn't it? If you like talking about the weather, which you know we Brits do, sorry to the Americans, but it has been a big advantage to us because we've got this building project going on. We've been incredibly lucky with the weather. Now then, I'm going to get David to just say hi to you and then we will have a little chat about one or two things that have been happening this week, and then we will get on with answering your questions and showing some of your excellent sewing.
Okay, thank you everybody. Right, well Susan Jenkins, you were first. You quite often are in your motorhome in the New Forest. I wonder where you are, anywhere near Brockenhurst or somewhere like that. Krista Martin from Huntsville in Alabama, Denise Haller from Ottenbach in Switzerland, Diana from sunny Reading, Jane Petley Jones from Kendal in Cumbria, and then I'm just going to go down a bit. Oh, we've got Jennifer Clifford from New Zealand. Hi Jennifer, I think you probably win for getting up the earliest in the morning to watch this. Sharon Green Buckley in her, she calls it Mojo in Spain, very hot. I bet it is hot in Spain at the moment as well. Hopefully you can all hear us, and we will crack on with what's coming up.
Thank you. The lead in my pencil just broke, so Peter was just passing me another pencil. Now, before I just chat about the usual prize draw, it will not have escaped your notice that there has been something of a drama working its way out this week. I did send an email to say that I was thinking that I needed to close both Quilters Question Time and the garment making businesses, but not until the end of 2026. This clearly took a lot of people by surprise. I did think that I was giving you a really nice chunk of notice there over 18 months, but clearly not. Some people were, and continue to be actually, very angry with me and have said that I have been dishonest and misleading and all kinds of other things which I have found extremely upsetting. I mean, Jennifer, you were the first up, but I haven't actually been to bed, so I lay on my bed all night until 6:30, and then I did have maybe about half an hour's sleep. I also haven't eaten anything. I've had a ginger biscuit today and 2 slices of cheese, so I am deeply affected by the negative comments, but I am also deeply moved, and I genuinely mean that, by the many very positive comments, and they have been, I said in my one of my messages, my emails, they're almost harder to read than the negative ones. And I've been sent gifts, which is why I have beautiful flowers on either side of me. I have been sent wonderful chocolate cake, and I have had many private messages, as well as the messages through the Facebook groups. And to all of the people who've sent me those messages, I will endeavour to answer them. When I say those messages, I mean the ones that have come to my private email. There are simply so many of them on the 2 Facebook websites. What I've been trying to do is kind of think about other things today, really, and if I'm answering those messages now, then that is just keeping it all right, bubbling on the top of the surface, which I'm just trying to kind of calm myself, really. And if you were with us for the live on Tuesday, you will see that I am doing a remarkable job of doing that. So anyway, I have backtracked, and I have promised you that all things being equal and no major catastrophes, inshallah, God willing, and all the rest of it, that your classes and the Facebook group will remain available to you until at least the end of 2028. That is 3.5 years from now. I really think that is a good period of notice if we do finish at that point, but we will need to review our finances and also our kind of personal situation at that point. A lot of you have been very generous in offering solutions in terms of different streaming and costs and things like that, but our particular business is so complex with so many customers from all over the world that we simply are not going to change the streaming platform that we use, and there is a cost to that. If we pare it down as much as we possibly can, it will be between £3,500 and £5,000 a year. So I thank you for all of your feedback, your negative feedback and your positive feedback. I did on Tuesday thank David, Kelly and Peter for everything that they have done throughout the lifetime of these two businesses, and that they will continue to do for us. Kelly very graciously said that she would be honoured to continue working for us, and she is an invaluable part of our team, as is everybody. So you have until the end of August to buy anything from our stores that you haven't already bought. That will give you well over 3 years to watch it, and we will give you some gentle reminders about that before the time. I'm not trying to sell things, I just want you to have the opportunity to take advantage of any classes you might have been wondering about in the past, and you are going to think, yeah, that might be something nice to do. So, and then the final thing I think I'm going to say, and David will step in if I've forgotten to say anything, the live sessions will continue to the end of this year. Our last one for both groups will be in December of this year, and after that it will be the classes available to you with the Facebook group. So make the most of us, send your questions in, let us make the most of these final few, well, we've got 7 including this evening, live sessions, which are always very positive and a delight. So that is all I'm going to say on that. So I think we should start with the prize draw. Peter, come and talk to us. But I better make sure he doesn't steal my cake, my lovely chocolate cake.
No. Yeah,
right.
Kate's going to keep sending cakes, ladies. I actually haven't seen this cake, but
well, I'm going to show everybody because
right,
actually.
Just put that over a little bit.
Right.
Sorry.
All right. Okay.
So
we've got more flowers as well. You see, look.
You know that I bought those. Actually,
right.
I bought those on Tuesday for the live. So it is a Swiss chocolate loaf cake, a decadent all butter chocolate cake topped with Swiss Grand Cru dark chocolate ganache. You don't like chocolate cake, do you, Peter?
You certainly.
You don't.
You certainly don't want to be eating all of that by yourself, do you?
And also some delicious chocolates. And there was a gingerbread teapot in there, but that was the ginger biscuit that I ate earlier today. That has.
All right, you've already been at it, have you?
Why would I want to hold back, Peter? I need some tender, loving care. Right, 2
Don't you get enough from me, dear?
Not really. 2 tickets out, and then I'll explain what David is going to organise for 2 lucky winners. Come on, man.
1.
A pink one.
Thank you.
And a blue one.
Thank you.
So, just on the very off chance that there is somebody new with us this evening, you don't have to do anything, you just have to be a member and you are eligible for the draw. Now, this is my tailor's ham. I have had this since I was a student in the late 1970s and early 18s. It's filled with sawdust. It has been invaluable to me. I use it all the time for all sorts of pressing of sleeve heads, anything with a little bit of curve on it, and it has stood the test of time, and I hope it will see me out. So we are going to purchase and send to you directly from the place that we buy them a tailor's ham. So 2 lucky people are going to get a tailor's ham, and if you've already got one and you win another one, you can't have too many tailor's hams. So That is a lovely thing. Would you like to take that away with you?
Yeah, is my work here done?
For now.
Right. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, should we start with the questions?
Yep, absolutely.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so the first question, and this is probably going to be a short answer to this one, bearing in mind the conversation we've just had. This is from Jerry Paul, and Jerry says, "Dear Philippa, would you consider having classes on making lingerie, how to repurpose used clothes, or how to tailor clothes that are too large or too small?" And it is a question that we've had before, but Philippa, what do we think about that?
Okay, I mean, it's a huge subject there, isn't it? I mean, there's absolutely a massive range of possibilities in terms of classes in that, but I am not going to be filming any more garment making classes. So the answer to that is a no, and I'm sorry to disappoint you on that, but what I would say to you is that all of our classes have alterations, so they explain all kinds of different things in terms of making things bigger, smaller, dealing with a flat bottom, a rounded tummy, big thighs, rounded shoulders. All sorts of different alterations are in our classes, and if you go to our homepage and the index and click onto that, I know I've said this before, but some of you may not be aware of this, you will get a list of all the alterations in each of the classes, and if you just click on the one that you want, it will take you straight there, if that class is in your library, okay, which it very likely is, and then you won't have to search for it. And the alterations that you are making to a pattern in order to make it fit you, making it bigger, smaller, whatever it happens to be, they do really apply to garments that you may already have. So if you can see what is happening in the actual pattern cutting part of the alteration stage, then you can, I think, quite easily transfer that to any garment that is not quite right for you. You know, and what I do, and Peter's done this quite often, is I put the garment on and I will get Peter to pin it. Now the pinning doesn't have to be super accurate, but when a garment is pinned, say you're taking a pleat out of somewhere, maybe it's gaping or something like that, you know, you can see where you need to take that garment in, where you need to add a tuck, maybe some gather, something like that. So please don't forget that resource is there, because it is about a lot more than just making pattern alterations when you are starting to cut out a new garment. So is there anything else that I can say on that? I think that is my best advice for you, Jerry, but thank you very much for your question.
Okay, thank you, Jerry. Hopefully that's helpful. Now the next question, it's not, well, it's kind of a question, it's a response to last month. Now Jude last month, and I've got an image which goes with this, so I'll put the image up. Jude last month said that she was thinking of making some of these, what do we call them? Palazzo pants, and she'd been looking at floral fabrics, and she asked some questions last week. Well, this month rather, Judith is showing us the fabrics that she's bought. So she says, "Hi everyone, just sending an update on the Palazzo pants project I mentioned last month. I think I may have gone a bit summer crazy. These are my two fabrics. They're both viscose twill. My husband is horrified. I have no idea if this is a wise or foolish decision, but nothing ventured, then nothing gained. They probably will never be worn in public, but I'm going to enjoy them. Thanks for building my confidence over the years to play like this." And that's from Jude. So Philippa, what do we think?
Well, I wonder why your husband is horrified. He must have led a very sheltered life. I think your fabrics are absolutely gorgeous. Two really strong, dramatic florals, one with a dark black background, and you can easily dress that down. So if you wore your pants with a plain top, you could have a black top, you could pick the cerise colour out, you could choose anything from that particular colour palette there and really make a great outfit. If it was me, I'd probably, in the dark, I'd probably have trousers and a blouse in the dark, and I'd make a bomber jacket in the other floral, and I'd wear them all together. And I probably would even make a scarf as well in one of those fabrics if I had any leftover bits. So I want you to continue to take courage and not to keep these for wearing in the garden on a lovely sunny day. I want you to go out to the shops in them. I want you to go out for coffee or a drink with them. I want you to wear them when you go out with your friends. I want you to wear them. The thing that I have discovered over the years is that I can be in a shop, walking down the street, anywhere, and somebody will come up to me, not anybody that know, it can be an elderly man, it can be a young woman, it can be a shop assistant, anybody, and they will say to me, I love your dress, I love what you're wearing, or you look really bright, or you look really happy. It makes a huge difference. You look down the street and everybody is wearing solid dark colours and looks so sombre. There is no need for it. And what you are doing is you are expressing your creativity and your personality, and all those comments will show that you are bringing joy to everybody else and that they are really happy to see you wearing something so bright. So starting with these trousers, train your husband that the brighter the better it is. The more confident you are, the more you will enjoy your clothes and the more compliments you will get. So be brave, be brave, be brave, and send us some pictures.
Have you trained your husband?
It's an ongoing thing.
Okay.
Yeah, she should, could I just say, she shouldn't say, you know, it's probably never going to be worn. Life is short, get out there.
Yeah, and spend your money.
I'm not so sure about that.
Wise words from Peter there. Get out and enjoy life because life is short. Okay, so moving on. The next question is from Diane King. And Diane says, I'm planning to make the blouse shown, and I've got the picture, I'll pop it up in a second, and would like to take out some of the flare at the sides below the armhole without changing the measurements or shape of the armhole. Could Philippa please advise the best way to approach it? And this is the picture here.
And that's from Diane King, isn't it? Yeah. So, Diane, thank you for sending in the photo of the front of the pattern envelope, which is a drawing, and then the more detailed drawing of the actual garment. It's a fairly loose fitting top that comes below the waist, so I think if you want to wear it tucked in, I might add a few inches onto the bottom of it, but if you're going to wear it loose over some trousers, then the length looks good. It doesn't look excessively flared, and what I hope I'm picking up the right thing from your question, but what I think is that that the shape of the body from the underarm flares out slightly and that you would like to have it straighter down. What I suggest you do is you measure the circumference of the bottom hem of that particular top with a tape measure, and then you put that tape measure around you and you see what you think, because you'll be able to see and kind of move it around and see how much extra fabric there is there. It might in reality not be very much, but I think it's a very easy thing to change the angle of the side seam. You will not need to change the armhole or the sleeve head, anything like that. Just from under the arm, when you have determined where you want it to be, you are just going to taper from nothing under the arm to what you want at the lower edge. And because it's not really super flared, I almost think, well, I do think actually, that you could cut it out and get it mostly made up, and you could actually do that once the garment is actually kind of under construction, because you'll be able to see much more easily how much you want to remove from that, if indeed you want to remove any at all. And the fabric can make a very big difference. So if, for example, you had something like a viscose twill, which we were just chatting about with the Palazzo pants, that's a very soft drapey fabric and kind of falls softly on your body and doesn't create extra volume. And in that case, if you had something like that, you might decide, yeah, it's actually better as is. But if you had something like a very crisp cotton poplin, that's going to stick out and be kind of more rigid in wear, and may be adding a kind of visual inch or two to you that you don't want, in which case then you would skim off the sides. So I think it's all very easy. I think you should sort of play it by ear. It's all perfectly doable, and if you follow those steps, you are bound to come up with what you want on that, and you may go on to make a number of them, because you do have different sleeve options on there as well. So we would like to see it. You need to get it made before December. We want to see it next month. Thank you, David.
Okay, so lots of comments on the chat saying that they love the prints for those Palazzo pants. So lots of people, I think, are behind you and wanting you to go ahead and make something that you can wear. Okay, the next question is from Sarah Runnacles, and Sarah says, some time ago Philippa talked about a gizmo that you could fit to your machine to help the metallic thread run through it without shredding. She says that she bought one and then her machine died and presumably went to machine heaven with the gizmo still attached. Could you remind me where I might find the info, and then I might remember why I bought it? And that's from Sarah Runnacles.
So Sarah, thank you. It was not too late for your question. We are a little bit sparse on questions this evening. I wonder why. But anyway, so we're very grateful to have your question. And so if you go to Bernina.com, the website, and you type in thread lubricating unit, I think that is what you are after. And I have one here which I've had for a long time, 10 years or more, and it's a little plastic arm and it has a magnet in it, and on my sewing machine there is a little hole and this magnetized fitting just sits in there. I've got a pair of tweezers with me, and there is a little, you probably can't see but I'll try and explain it very clearly, there's a little kind of cupped section on one end of this little plastic arm, and in that is a felt pad, and it's actually a fairly longish piece of felt that has been cut and then folded in half. And then what also comes with the kit, and this isn't the actual one, but is a silicone lubricant. I have a very similar thing here called Sewer's Aid, and the lubricant will lubricate the thread. So if you've got anything like a tricky embroidery thread, a metallic thread that's a bit nubby, not very smooth, putting this light coating of the silicone lubricant really helps it. I must make sure that I put that in the correct way. It's the other way around. So from time to time, what you need to do with a little pair of tweezers is take out that little bit of felt and put 2 or 3 drops of your lubricating fluid onto that, and then popping that back in place, and then your thread will be lubricated. I have to say, mine stays on my machine pretty much all the time. I rarely take it off. I don't re-lubricate it, you know, all the time, but when I am doing anything with a thread that is a little bit perhaps less smooth than your regular sewing threads, then I do add a bit more of the product and use that. I do find it good. I think it is a worthwhile addition. Some things are not, but that one is. And Sarah, how are you getting on with your new Bernina sewing machine? Because you've got a Bernina 735, I believe, which is one of the 5.5mm larger sewing machines, a beautiful machine. I'd be very interested to see whether you are master of all you survey with that sewing machine.
Okay, so a couple of comments in the feed, if I just switch back to that. Somebody was saying it sounds like this isn't going to be the last of the lives. Absolutely not. We're going to be doing lives now until December, so they'll be every month until December. What Philippa was saying is get your questions in, because there won't be any lives after December. So, I think the same person, Sarah Ann Smith, was saying, or was it somebody else? Oh, she was saying she's definitely going to have to get her trousers all sorted and ready so that she can ask the questions. So that's a very good response to what's going on here at the moment.
But also, you might be so good at sewing the trousers that you don't actually have any questions to ask. So you know that is definitely a possibility.
Okay, I was just going to. I know Sarah Runnacles is a very regular contributor, and she posted in the Facebook group something which I loved, and I asked her if I could share this, and she said that I could. And she says, on Tuesday we talked about the Patchwork House at Liberty, which I'll ask Philippa just to mention again in a few seconds. But Sarah had been to Liberty to look at the Patchwork House, and she bought some Grace and Perry 150th anniversary commemorative Tana lawn fabric, and she made some boxes from it. And here's Sarah in Liberty, and there are the boxes. And I don't know whether you can see, but they are so Grace and Perry. They are unbelievable. I would love a pair of boxes like that. In fact, I'm thinking of going and getting some fabric and getting someone to make a shirt for me in that, because I think that looks absolutely amazing. Sarah also said that she was wearing her she called it Me and Philippa Made shirt, a shirt that she made sewing along with Philippa's lessons, and the Liberty staff couldn't remember, and it was in Liberty fabric, and the Liberty staff couldn't remember selling a shirt to that pattern. So well done, Sarah. Philippa, have you got anything to add to that?
Yeah, so most of you do know Liberty department store on Regent Street in London. It is celebrating its 150th anniversary, and if you don't know the store itself, you certainly will know Liberty prints and Liberty lawn fabrics. They are absolutely beautiful in terms of their quality and the designs that are printed on them. And to celebrate this 150 years, Liberty actually asked people to send in small quilt blocks which have been assembled to look like a house. And the Liberty store has balconies going all the way around, but the central part of the store you can look right up to the ceiling, and that is where this particular fabric house has been or is on display. And what we found out on Tuesday was that a number of our members had blocks in the house and that would be visiting them. The actual display is on, I think it is until the 29th of July, but I would ask you to check that out. It is still quite a long time, so if you're going down to London, definitely worth it. But Grace and Perry is a very famous British artist. He really is a ceramic artist, but he works in all kinds of disciplines. He is very unusual but very down to earth, but he has a kind of alter ego and dresses as a woman called Claire, and he gets fashion students to make the most outrageous dresses. And so when I saw Sarah's husband's boxer shorts, I immediately thought that she needs to make Claire, aka Grace and Perry, some bloomers in the same fabric to go under one of his dresses. Now Liberty have just a small range of fabrics that have been designed for Grace and Perry, also in conjunction with a fabulous exhibition that is also being held in London just off Oxford Street, and Oxford Street adjoins Regent Street where Liberty is. So if you were going to Liberty, you could go and see the Grace and Perry exhibition. You will need to book it in advance, and it is at a place called the Wallace Collection. It's a very easy walk from Liberty. And Grace and Perry has decided that this exhibition in the Wallace Collection is a very grand house, incredibly beautifully decorated in kind of Rococo, very ornate style, with a lot of traditional paintings in it. But the story that Grace and Perry has created for all the artifacts that are in his exhibition is that a lady was the illegitimate daughter of somebody who owned this house, and then she got in touch with them as a much older lady, and she was kind of gifted the house in her inheritance, and it's the kind of the story of the life of this lady. And there are textiles, and there are ceramics, and there are metal masks, and there's a bed, and there's all kinds of things, and it's just an absolute visual delight. But what is brilliant is there is an audio accompaniment to this, which once you've bought your ticket for the show, the audio accompaniment is free and it is priceless. It is Grace and Perry in your ear having a conversation with you. Cannot recommend it highly enough. So for those of you who have the opportunity and are going to London, get online now, book those Grace and Perry exhibition tickets for the Wallace Collection off Oxford Street. You will not be disappointed. And thank you for prompting all of that, Sarah.
Okay, I went to see Grace and Perry in Hull. It's very entertaining as well. Okay, Susan I was asking about Brockenhurst. I went to college in Brockenhurst, Susan, so we're just having a little private conversation there. Okay, next question is from Diana. And Diana says, I'm so chuffed, I finished my Chanel jacket. And we do have the picture. I think I've teed it up. Oh no, I haven't yet.
Well, we wanted to see the boxer shorts
Yeah,
again.
see the boxer shorts one more time. Let me tee this up. Who was it? Diana. There we go. So, there she is in her Chanel jacket, or Chanel style jacket. She said the high collar didn't suit me, so I made a gentle V instead. It looks absolutely amazing. Also, I chose to use minimal trim, but went for 4 pockets. Oh, and I gave it a purple lining. I love it. It needed a full bust adjustment, as my pattern had no shaping at all. Your Philippa full bust adjustment module helped me to create darts where there had been none. It seems to have worked. Thank you for your expert tuition and encouragement. Now, she says, I needed to create the darts for the full bust adjustment, but the darts made it difficult to match my checks across the sleeves and the body. It seems that the sleeves could either line up at the shoulders or the body, but not both. And in the end, I opted to line my checks up across the main body section. She's just wondering, would you have lined them up like that, Philippa?
Okay, it is absolutely lovely. You look amazing in it. I mean, all of the Chanel jackets that we have seen over the months since we released that class have been of the highest standard. You have all done the most professional job in every way, and none of them look homemade. And when we think again that a Chanel jacket costs anywhere from £4,000 upwards to whatever you happen to care to mention, you have all made the most stunning outfit, most stunning garment, and absolutely, Diana, you are included in that. And I'm just going to kind of ask David to go back to the picture so that we can see this. Can I just ask, what colour is that on your screen, David?
Black and white.
Black and white, okay, because on the screen I've got, it's black and red. But
is it?
Yeah, it
Sorry.
is. It doesn't make any difference. I was just wondering what the viewers were seeing. So just have a look. First of all, have a look at the sleeve head and the shoulders and the neckline. Look at the beautiful quality of the shoulder line and the sleeve going into the sleeve head. That is really, really professionally well done, really beautifully done. Now I want you to look at the check design. So this is not a one-way check. It's it mirrors. So you've got dark lines going both horizontally and vertically. And so there's some really clever cutting here. So if you can see that the pockets that Diane has, she's got her breast pocket and then the pocket towards the lower edge. She's got 2 of those strong stripes really nicely positioned in the middle there. In fact, she's got one that almost sits perfectly onto her waistline there, and she has matched the pockets through absolutely perfectly. Now the pocket could have kind of disappeared into that check, but she's chosen a really dark trim a little way down from the top of the pocket, and that makes you see those pockets. It's subtle, it's classy, but it's absolutely right. And then she's got a button or a little element in the middle of that, so that is really, really well done. But the question she was asking was about the horizontal stripe, because one of the things I teach very kind of carefully in this class is how to get the stripes matching through. And so you can see, if you look at the lower hem of the body, there is that dark stripe there, and as you carry your eye across to the sleeve, you can see that the stripe matches through the body onto the sleeve, but as it gets higher up towards the shoulder, it has not been possible to continue with that pattern matching. So what I would say to you, that there isn't a right or a wrong choice on that. What I think is that works really well. You have to decide where you think your eye is drawn to in terms of looking for that strong element in the check to take your eye round. And so what Diana has decided is that it's the lower edge up to just her midriff, her waist and a little bit below, that is what she feels is the strongest element to show that off. And then where it gets kind of smaller, the sleeve head smaller, there's not so much fabric, that's where she's decided that the offset is is going to sit less noticeably. So I think you could have gone either way with that. Neither of them is the right answer. They are both really valid. One is just different to the other. So yes, you are proud, and I'm sure that your husband is not horrified with that jacket at all. He is probably absolutely amazed at the quality of your workmanship. So congratulations, really, really fantastic.
Well done. Yeah, very, very good. Okay, so the next question we have is, I don't think we've had this, because we've been doing this for quite a while, we get lots of questions that come up every now and then, shall we say. Some of them come up very regularly, but I don't think we've had this question before. This is from Joanne Tissington, and Joanne says, "Dear Philippa, I am so stuck. I've inherited over 200 patterns from my mum since her passing, bless her. These patterns go all the way back to the 70s and forward. I have no idea what I should do with them. Many have great memories for me, but unfortunately those sizes no longer fit me. I've pulled some patterns that I might be able to adjust to my size, but what should I do with the others? Any suggestions to solve my dilemma would be greatly appreciated." Philippa, what do we think?
Well, what a treasure trove, 200 patterns.
I can see you salivating already.
Yeah. I love a 1970s pattern. 1970s dress pattern, right up my street. Not that I'm asking you to send them to me. I think it depends how much time you want to invest in it. So there are a lot of vintage and classic patterns sold through eBay and through Etsy. So you definitely could list them. I mean, I would have quite a good look first. I mean, some of them are listed for a very modest price, and some of them are really quite expensive, you know, £20 and more. So if you feel that you want to go to the trouble of listing them and then posting them onto somebody once they have bought them, that is definitely an option. There are people who do specialise in that kind of thing, and again, you will find them on sites like Etsy and eBay. And so if you search them and you can see that somebody's got 100 patterns or 50 patterns or whatever for sale, you know that that is kind of a business that they're running. And I would suggest in that case that you contact them and explain what you've got, send a few photos and see if they are interested in buying them from you, because that is certainly a possibility. They're always on the lookout for interesting patterns. I'm sure that there's a big range there, and that they'll be in really good condition. What I would also then suggest is that if you don't want to do that, you could ask if you're a member of a guild or a sewing group, does anybody want them? You could take them if they have a sale table at any time, something like that. You could sell them for money, or you could just donate them. Or alternatively, you could give them to thrift stores or charity shops. You might break them up and take them a few at a time to one shop, few at a time to another shop. But I often pick up patterns for 50p and a pound from thrift shops and charity shops, as we call them in the UK. So I think it very much depends on how much time you want to spend, whether you want to make any money on them, but there is definitely a market for them out there, and people do want them. So hopefully that is some help, Joanne.
Thank you. And hopefully we'll get some more questions that we've never had before over the next few months. So couple of questions to go. This one is from Irene, and Irene says, "Hi Philippa and David, I listened to you bearing your soul to us on Quilters Question Time on Tuesday, Philippa, and my heart went out to you. I thank you sincerely for making me a much better quilter. I often say to myself, what would Philippa do? And other people have said that they do the same thing when they're sewing. You nearly always tell me, you can do better, Irene. Try again. However, I thank you from the bottom of my heart for your dressmaking lessons. I knew nothing when I started, and although I have not made anything for a while, I know that with you guiding me, I will always be pleased with the result. Now to my question," says Irene. "I taught Sophia, my 14-year-old daughter, to patchwork and quilt, and she has made a few things that make me proud. She now wants to have a go at dressmaking. I could help with the quilting, but not so much with the dressmaking. What pattern would you suggest we try for her first attempt as a 14-year-old teenager? Teenagers seem to wear leggings and t-shirts these days, as far as I can tell." So, Philippa, first first pattern for a teenager? What do we suggest?
Well, what I suggest that I'm sorry, sorry, Irene. Thank you very much for saying what you said. I do really appreciate it, and I am holding myself together much better today, aren't I? And I do also sometimes ask myself, what would Philippa do? But joking apart, I do really appreciate your comments there. Now, Sophia, your granddaughter, sounds like she has really taken to sewing, and how lovely that she has been doing patchwork and quilting, because that's a really great foundation for her moving on to other types of sewing. It is the case, isn't it, that we don't really have dress fabric shops with pattern books in the way that we used to, because you could have had a nice little trip out with her and gone and flicked through a pattern book to look for something that appealed to her, and they always say easy, medium, difficult, so you could stick with the easy range. So you could do that online. Now, I don't know if you are in the UK or in the States, but in the UK, Minerva, which is a shop that sells patterns and all kinds of trimmings and things, has a really extensive range of patterns, and they have a drop-down menu where you can easily kind of select what you want. So you'll be going female, teenager, pattern, easy patterns, and so I would have a look there. I mean, even if you're in the States, you could have a look there, because it's a really easy site to use, and you could choose a pattern, the two of you together, and then you could order it in the States from online or somewhere else. But I would have a look at what she does wear, because she must have other clothes, and I do think something like a very simple summer dress or a pair of shorts or something like that isn't too complicated would be a great starting point. But I do also wonder whether making some kind of a bag, an easy rucksack, or perhaps with a drawstring top or some kind of tote bag, something like that, might be a nice transition, sort of a midpoint between quilting and going on to garment making. Because teenagers, they've always got loads of stuff, taking it to school, going around to friends' house and things like that, and a really lovely bag in a fantastic bright fabric that she'd made herself would certainly be something that I'm sure she would use and be very proud of. So in addition to looking at specific patterns for her gender and age group, I would have a look at bag patterns as well, and some people might have some suggestions that they might post within the Facebook group or something like that, because we have a lot of our members who make clothes for other members of their families, but particularly grandchildren. The grandchildren are really lucky in getting the fruits of everybody's labours. So hopefully that will help you, and I'll just keep it simple, wouldn't stress on it, and just build up. She's going to be thrilled to bits and delighted that she has the skills to sew once you've shown her how to go forward.
Okay, thank you. Somebody's commented the fold line is a great resource for patterns, and they have filters so that you could filter for specific things, presumably for easy patterns and that sort of thing. Okay, we are getting towards the end. A couple of people have asked questions in the comments, but I'm not going to deal with those today, because they're quite complex questions, and we haven't got any pictures, and Philippa does like to have pictures and some time to think about questions so that she can respond to them. So if you've got questions, do send them in when we send the emails out to remind you, and do send us some pictures of the projects, because that makes it so much easier to help you and to give you the correct advice. Okay, the last question is from Megan McCauley, and Megan says, can you recommend a good book of hand sewing stitches that would be used in garment making? She's looking for a book with details and pictures and showing for left-handers, and something that might be available in America. I think most books are available wherever you are, but Philippa, do you know of any hand sewing stitch books that might fit the bill?
So Megan, I'm sorry, I fully intended to find a little selection of books showing hand stitches. I do have one or two. I have to say most of them are to do with hand embroidery rather than actual sewing, but what I think are really great resources, and they're kind of a little bit old-fashioned, but they have absolutely fantastic range of hand techniques in are kind of old-fashioned sewing books, so you know, complete guide to needlework type of thing. There was one that we bought several copies of, wasn't there, Peter, that we kept finding in charity shops, and it was a 1970s and 1980s Reader's Digest book, and it had a massive range of different techniques in it. I'm not sure you'll be able to find it, Peter, with either clear drawn illustrations. Do tend to be drawn illustrations rather than photographs in the older books, but their explanations are really great, and it's a period in time when people maybe didn't have sewing machines or had basic sewing machines, and hand stitching was very much part of the garment making process. And so it will cover all kinds of stitches for making seams, for buttonholes, hand buttonholes, all kinds of different hems, all kinds of different seams. So I would tend to look at things like very traditional encyclopedia of sewing, or all of, you know, the Housewife's Guide to home sewing, that kind of thing. I don't particularly know whether there is anything specifically for left-handed people, and I do kind of understand that you live in a right-handed world, and that must be on many occasions very frustrating, and that people can either be a little bit left-handed, a bit ambidextrous, or be very, very left-handed. I don't think Peter's going to find the book. Oh, well done, Peter. How did you do that? I must have trained you well.
Your wish is my command, dear.
Yes, thank you.
And
So
is that one?
yes, that's a good one too. It's not as good as this one, but this one, the Reader's Digest, I'm sorry, it's shining. Complete Guide to Sewing, that kind of thing. And this is an excellent book, and it's got all kinds of fitting things, and the quality of the illustrations is really wonderful. I mean, some of you might remember the Reader's Digest, the gardening year had a yellow front cover into a grid, and it had all these beautiful illustrations of this type. It was the only book at my grandparents' house, and when I used to go and stay as a little girl, I used to look at it endlessly, and it influenced me hugely, and it was a big influence on the miniature whole cloth quilts that I made. But I can see there lots of help on hems and things. So that is a British book, but I'm pretty sure that you'll find it or something similar available in the States. And then this little one here, I'm going to be a bit unkind here, but my mum and dad were terrible at buying gifts, and they used to get me things like an umbrella for Christmas or a hockey stick. I hated hockey with a passion, but one year they bought me this book, and it was such a treasure. I would have been about 11 or 12. I was doing tons of hand sewing at the time, and as I kind of refound this book, it's the McCall's Needlework in colour, and it's got all kinds of different things, so you can see that there's needlepoint and embroidery, and there's all kinds of sewing and applique and stuff. And when I kind of refound it, I had made so many of the projects in this book as a young teenager, and I absolutely loved it, which is why it's still around, and why the umbrella and the hockey stick are long gone. Long gone. So that's what I'm going to suggest you look out for. In the UK, you can find that kind of thing in thrift shops and charity shops for £1.50. You're often picking books up for me like that, aren't you, Peter? And
yeah, well, that one has been quite hard to find.
Yes, but I think I got it for about £1 initially, the first one that I got, and then I don't know whether it's in the UK, in the States, but a company that I use all the time is Abe Books, but there are really good second-hand online sites that if you do a search, they'll be able to offer you quite a lot. So good luck with your search, and if you find something that you treasure and love, let us know, because other people might like to look for it too.
Okay, that was the last question. Excuse me, the last question. Irene, who was asking about the pattern for her teenage granddaughter, I think it was, wasn't it? Says that she's thinking of doing a summer dress. That sounds like a good idea. So we've got some winners, Philippa.
Excellent. So, are you going to read them out, Peter? Yeah. Don't think you get off that lightly.
Yeah. Don't start taking my job over here. Right, we have Jan Pritchard and Joanna Pike.
And David must have taken to heart what we said on Tuesday about not being able to read his handwriting, because David, that's pretty clear. Well done.
Yeah, that's the first one I wrote.
Yeah. So he did have to have 2 goes at it. So to you two ladies, well done, and a tailor's ham will be coming your way. David will get in touch and find out your postal address, and then that will be organised. So it's not coming directly from us here, it is coming from whoever we actually buy them from. So a little bit of a short session, but I do have just 1 or 2 little things that I do want to say. And I don't want to kind of keep harping on about it, but it has been one of the toughest weeks I've ever known. And I also keep talking about the building work that's going on. But I had actually been to a bakery yesterday, and I'd bought some packets of extra large gingerbread people. They are sold as gingerbread people or gingerbread person. It got to be a gingerbread man or a gingerbread woman. They're quite big, chunky biscuits. And I mixed up a little bit of icing today and made a little greaseproof paper, wax paper icing bag. And I decorated these 6 little biscuits, not so little biscuits, for the builders, and put their name on them. And so each of the little figures, the little biscuits, had something characteristic about the person it was being given to. So, for example, Josh had big glasses on, and Peter printed off a tiny little paper cookie with a bite out of it, and I icing glued that onto the hand of the little thing. And then what else did...
He's a bit chubby.
He's a bit chubby. He's a lovely lad.
Food.
Yes, he does like his food. In fact, that just reminds me of something else, because we had 10 people. I'll go back to that story, but we had 10 builders here today. We had 4 normal builders. We had 2 plasterers, 2 electricians, and 2 guys building serious steel work. And I made this massive tray of buttered toast and buttered crumpets. It was a big tray. I don't think you saw it. It was a big tray to feed all these guys. Anyway, so I took them down, and there were 2. There was 1 crumpet and 1 piece of toast left on the tray, and I said, come on lads, you've got to eat this up. I've gone to the trouble of making it. I said, oh well, that's for Gareth, and he's just out on a phone call. He's at the front of the house. We were saving that for Gareth. And then Josh, the cookie guy, he said, oh, I'm going to have a crumpet sandwich. So what he did was he took the bread, the middle section out of the toast. He left this little square of crust on the tray. He folded the crumpet inside that, and poor Gareth got this little square crust. Anyway, so the other bits were the main guy had a little telephone on his, and so on and so forth. And it was, in a tough day, it was a little moment of humour and joy, wasn't it, Peter? It made me feel much better to actually go and do that and to give it to the guys. So we have 10 guys coming tomorrow. I have no snacks in the house, so we're going to have to find them.
Keep saying about the gingerbread man, gingerbread people, doesn't work, does it? The little children's story or nursery rhyme, isn't it? You can't. It's run as fast as you can. You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread person. Absolutely does not work, does it?
Okay, and so just finally before we finish, I would very much like to put all of the drama of this week behind us. I think that we have been incredibly lucky to date to have an extremely positive group in all aspects. That's Facebook and everything else. And unfortunately, this week that very high standard has slipped somewhat, and it has not been the kind, supportive and generous place that it had been prior to that, all of the time prior to that. So I would really like to stop commenting on it. I would like everybody to stop commenting. We know what's happening. We've got a really good block of time in front of us. There is much to enjoy. The communities don't disappear. The Facebook groups are going to be there. I would really implore you, and some of you have been working very hard to do this and posting all kinds of positive pieces of work and message and things like that. Let's not talk about the what has gone on this week. Let us move forward, know that we've got a plan that takes us right to the end of 2028. That is a long time away, and that we have one another to enjoy our sewing with, and let's keep it as the really fabulous positive community that it has always been. So thank you to all of you for this week. I have put myself through the mill, but I am, as you can see, recovering, and you mean a lot, and the community means a lot. I have said it before, there has been nothing in my sewing career that has been as special and as rewarding as this. I mean, all of my teaching has been rewarding, but just seeing the things that you've made in both of the groups, and the success and the confidence that has grown, and your abilities and your experimentation is rewarding beyond measure, really. I'm going to get emotional again. So,
do you die a happy woman, dear?
Not just yet. Give me a bit of time. I can't die before 2028 end of. So I want you to, as I said in my message, I want you to hold it dear, and I want you to hold each other dear, and I want you to be kind to one another, and realise that not everybody comes from an easy place, and not everybody's life is easy, and that we are here to make things better for all of us. So I hope the rest of your day, your evening is really great. I hope tomorrow is full of sunshine. I hope you have a fabulous weekend, and we look forward to seeing you in June. So from David,
Bye-bye.
And from Peter,
bye-bye,
the gingerbread person, and from myself, thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you next month.